Friday, April 9. From the book The Desire of Ages, page 329 and 330, we read, "The yoke that binds to service is the law of God. The great law of love revealed in Eden, proclaimed upon Sinai, and in the new covenant written in the heart, is that which binds the human worker to the will of God. If we were left to follow our own inclinations, to go just where our will would lead us, we would fall into Satan's ranks and become possessors of his attributes. Therefore, God confines us to his will, which is high and noble and elevating. He desires that we shall patiently and wisely take up the duties of service. The yoke of service Christ himself has borne in humanity. He said in Psalm 40 verse 8, "I delight to do thy will, O my God, yea, thy law is within my heart." And in John 6:38, "I came down from heaven not to do mine own will, but the will of him that sent me." Love for God, zeal for his glory, and love for fallen humanity brought Jesus to earth to suffer and to die. This was the controlling power of his life, the principle he bids us adopt. End of quote. And that brings us to our three discussion questions for this week. One, was God's covenant with Noah, Abram, Moses, and us a continuation of his covenant with Adam? Or was it something new? Let's look at Genesis 3, verse 15. "And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." And Genesis 22:18. "In your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice." And Galatians 3, verse 8. And the Scripture, foreseeing that God would justify the Gentiles by faith, preached the gospel to Abraham beforehand, saying, "In you all the nations shall be blessed." And verse 16, "Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made." He does not say, "and to seeds as of many," but as of one, "and to your seed," who is Christ. Question 2. Why is the personal relational aspect of the covenant so important? In other words, you can have a legally binding deal, a covenant with someone, without any close personal interaction. That kind of arrangement is not, however, what the Lord is seeking in his covenant relationship with his people. Why is that so? Discuss this. 3. In what ways is marriage a good analogy for the covenant? In what ways does the analogy of marriage fall short in describing the covenant? And to summarize this week's lesson, the entrance of sin ruptured the relationship the Creator had originally established with the human family through our first parents. Now, God seeks to re-establish that same loving relationship by means of a covenant. This covenant signifies both a committed relationship between God and us, like a marriage bond, and an arrangement for saving us and bringing us into harmony with its Maker. God himself, motivated by his great love for us, is the initiator of the covenant relationship. By gracious promises and gracious acts, he woos us to come into union with him.